In the seedy underbelly of the internet, there's an unwritten rule, Rule 0. Don't fuck with cats.
Hello everyone, and welcome on back into the barracks. If you saw the beginning, you know exactly what we're talking about. The Netflix documentary series, Don't Fuck with Cats. I had to get a little bit lighthearted in the beginning when you're talking about such a serious and pretty awful topic. But let's go ahead and get into the more serious business. Serial killers. Where do they begin? And why? It is a well-known fact that the tell sign of a serial killer is no empathy and animal abuse. This happened in the Netflix documentary, Don't Fuck with Cats. A young man was uploading dark videos to the internet of him killing cats in cruel ways. Was it for attention? Well, it caught the attention of people on Facebook, and they banded together to figure out who this person is and alert the local authorities where they might live. Just like this past year, I took a class on the media and crime, and I thought this was a perfect instance of social media influencing crime. Why? Facebook found a killer. While he wasn't a serial killer, he certainly could be on the way to getting there. So let's talk about who Luka Magnotta is. The summary of the documentary, and we can even watch an interview from one of the people involved. So let's go ahead and just jump into it, shall we? Netflix is a data-driven platform. It monitors the viewing habits of its 158 million subscribers so closely that it not only knows what you watch, but when you watch it, how much of it you watch, the hindering trends that are the most likely to appeal to you, and even the thumbnail images most likely to convince each possible demographic to try a new series. The data that Netflix has at its disposal is terrifying and monumental. It sure got me to watch this. The title alone got me to watch it for sure. However, you can't deny that it has been put to good use, offering viewers what they want before they even know what they wanted. Don't Fuck with Cats is a case in point. Netflix has coalesced its vast reserves of subscriber information. I don't know that word. And deduced that what the world needs more than anything else is a true crime documentary series about obsessive internet users and cats. What a genius move! What a home run! What a no-fail combination of everything that everyone likes, but up together released into the world on the same week as arguably the most high-profile film about cats ever made. Although there's more to it than just cats. The story of Don't Fuck with Cats doesn't really matter. You'd watch it even if you thought, as I initially did, that it was going to simply be a you've been framed style compilation of cats attacking people. However, the masterstroke here is the narrative is simply unbelievable, and this should be said up front, it's incredibly upsetting. Oh, it is. This aspect can't really be overstated. There are moments that are viscerally harrowing. The story begins with a video upload to YouTube that graphically depicts the torture and murder of two small kittens. You don't see the video, or any subsequent, I can read, maybe not, similar videos in the documentary. But there are plenty of grisly man-style reactions nevertheless. One by a senior police officer who ends up reduced to tears. It is a violently distressing program. If you ever slightly queasy about this sort of thing, I'd seriously recommend giving it a miss. So, the thing that I have to disagree with this article so far is that they don't show it happening. They blur it out. That's what the article just said. It blurs it out. You don't actually see it happening. But you can hear it, and it is really bad. If you cannot stomach it, don't watch it if you don't like hearing the cats. I will say that it is really bad. I think the one that pissed me off the most was something with a snake. And that's about it. I'm not going to go anywhere near after that. It was really bad. They were all bad, regardless. I think he did like 3 videos, if I remember, from the documentary. He did like 3 videos on murdering cats, and each one, you think it couldn't get worse? It got worse. Nevertheless, the story is incredible. An anonymous user uploads the kitten video, and it appeals to a group of Facebook users so strongly that they use every tool at their disposal to track him down. They parse the video frame by frame for anything that would give them a clue to the killer's whereabouts. Plug sockets and cigarette packets are scrutinized. A specific blanket is tracked down through eBay. This I don't remember, but that's fucking wild. The expertise of an incredibly niche online vacuum cleaner forum is consulted. Metadata is cross-referenced with Google Maps. These are elements of Don't Fuck With Cats that play out like the film Catfish, if Catfish had real stakes. But it also takes time to explore the darker impulses of the amateur detectives. The fate of one falsely identified suspect is genuinely horrible to witness, and key members of the investigation repeatedly ask themselves whether they were solving a crime or simply adding on a violent criminal. One key member, a woman named Dana Thompson, is the de facto narrator of the series. As you expect from someone as very online as her, she's incisive and witty and quick to pull the threads together in a dynamic way. But that's arguably the biggest problem with the series, is a show with a jokey title and a self-aware narrator that splashes around in some of the worst human behavior imaginable. Okay. Right. We're just gonna keep going, because that's not really what matters. Alright, so this guy, that's basically the summary, although I don't agree with the end results. They were just looking for someone who could be potentially dangerous. And that was the whole point of this documentary, was that these random people got together in a Facebook group and looked specifically through everything. Metadata, cross-referencing stuff, Google Maps, everything. Everything. The rest of this is just the writer's opinion. He can have it. Don't really give a shit. But in all honesty, it was a very decent documentary. I think these people did what they thought was right. Looking for someone who has who is doing this not just once, not just twice, but 3 times, 3 videos, and who knows how many more this guy was gonna post of him abusing and killing cats for no reason. I mean, there's never a good reason to kill cats, but when serial killers start with animals, it's a common fact. They start with animals, whether it be rodents, whether it be raccoons, whether it be squirrels, whether it be mice, whether it be rats, cats, dogs, anything that they can get to. That's what they start with. And when it's multiple times of animal cruelty, that's when it could be a sign of he or she going to potentially start hurting people. And this is where serial killers start. It's a known fact. It's a very well-known fact that they start with animal cruelty. And these people banded together to go against and find this man, Luka Magnotta, who committed terrifying crimes and sparked an international manhunt from the Facebook group. Netflix pumping out griping true documentaries like there's no tomorrow, and they really were at the time. And the streaming service's latest offering is 3-part series, Don't Fuck With Cats, Hunting an Internet Killer. The docu-series tells the story of one of Canada's most infamous crimes, the murder of Lynn June. And look at that, this was the person that they were looking for, to alert authorities, and it was this guy. And he did hurt somebody. Lynn was killed by Luka Magnotta, who courted internet infamy before the murder by circulating videos of himself killing kittens. Here's what you should know about the man who became the subject of an international manhunt. Magnotta was born Eric Kirk Newman to teenage parents in 1982 Toronto. His parents later separated and have offered divergent accounts of his childhood. His mom is not the brightest in the bunch either. In the book she later co-authored about her son Magnotta's mother, Anne Yorton described his father as a proud Nazi, oh how wonderful, and an abusive husband and spouse. Testifying during his son's trial, his father, who described himself as suffering from schizophrenia, pinned the abuse on Magnotta's mother's family. Oh, wonderful. His mother remarried, but described her new husband as being abusive as well. So he became from an abusive home, which childhood trauma, also is a factor as well for killing people, for serial killers especially. Homeschooled until his middle school years, Magnotta was homeschooled as well in an abusive household. That must have been wonderful. Magnotta was reportedly severely bullied when he eventually attended school with other students and later dropped out before earning his diploma. He spent time in mental hospitals and lived in a group home. During a hospital visit while he was still a teenager, Magnotta said he was experiencing hallucinations and was later diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. So he had schizophrenia. In one of his first documented crimes, Magnotta was convicted of fraud in 2004 for misusing a friend's credit card and amassing around $17,000 in charges. He began pursuing an unsuccessful career as an actor and model while working as a stripper, escort, and appearing in pornographic films. As part of what his sister would later describe as an effort to reinvent himself, he legally changed his name to Luka Magnotta. In 2010, Magnotta began posting online what eventually became a series of 3 disturbing videos. In them, he suffocated or drowned kittens. That was one of them. He filmed another cat being, "I'm not gonna do it." That is so awful. So was the other one. This is where Don't Fuck With Cats begins its story. The series documents internet sleuths' search for the man in the videos, which turned into a worldwide manhunt after Magnotta escalated his crimes. In 2012, he murdered Lin Jun. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this guy's name correctly. A 33-year-old computer engineering student from China, and released a video online of himself killing Lin and abusing his corpse. Magnotta dismembered Lin's body and mailed his feet and hands to the headquarters of Canada's Conservative and Liberal parties, as well as two elementary schools. Oh, this part I did not remember from the documentary. That is fucked up. He then fled to Europe. Magnotta was eventually apprehended in an internet cafe where he was discovered reading news stories about his crimes. I also wanted to point out was that I believe part of the reason why this man did what he did was because he wanted attention. He didn't have a great home life. He was even homeschooled in an abusive home. Clearly, there was something wrong. I think the whole point of this and the whole reason he killed someone and did the kitten videos was he wanted attention. He wanted to be famous. And there are some serial killers or even people who copycat serial killers who want to do this for the attention, for the fame, so that their name will go down in history, and even if it's something incredibly horrible. And I believe that is what Luka Magnotta wanted. I think he wanted to be famous. Now you could argue, well, this Netflix documentary is giving him that notoriety, that fame. Same with the articles, same with the people coming after him for the kitten videos. He was getting that attention. Isn't this Netflix documentary making it worse? Maybe in jail, maybe he is having an inflated ego. He has a whole documentary on him. Maybe he is being inflated. At least his own personal ego. But is he gaining something out of this? Financially? No. He's still in jail. He is sitting in jail. And he's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. Or when he's eligible for parole in 20 years, if he's eligible. So, is he really going to be gaining anything out of this? Maybe in his own head he is. Maybe it's satisfying him. But there are people who have to argue that true crime documentaries and these things give, attention to these criminals, to these people. I think it gets to that point when you make featured films out of it, right? With actors and stuff like that. And you're recreating it in that way. I think that's what needs to stop. With the whole actors and whole production budget and a whole movie set explaining the life of these awful people, I think that needs to stop. But I think true crime documentaries like this one, or the one that we went over with in the last video, with Making a Murderer, or even the ones that Netflix have made, that were talking to people in prisons, like actual people in prisons that went down for death row for really the stupidest reasons, some of them rightfully deserved. But I remember watching that on Netflix as well, and it's just like, some of that, I think it's fine because it's educational purposes. You can learn something from it. But those movies, the movies with Zac Efron, or the one that was recently made, with, God, he was just an awful, awful fucking criminal. And the name is slipping my mind. I can't remember. But even like the one with Zac Efron, it was, sure, it was entertaining, but is it necessary? Did we need it? Did we learn anything from it? No. We already knew the guy was a fucking idiot, or was an awful fucking person, and a creep, and charming. We already knew that. We did not need a featured film with Zac Efron to do it. I don't agree with that type of showcasing of crime. Documentaries, educational purposes, or even just telling the story, but not in an inflated budget like that, is fine and should be fine. But that movie and those types of movies, no, absolutely not. They already get enough attention. We don't need Zac Efron. We don't need featured actors playing these awful people and doing an inflated story and dramatization of the story. No, absolutely not. But do I think that he's, benefiting from this? Maybe just like his own ego in his own head. And maybe he thinks all attention is good attention. That's about it. I don't think that these types of documentaries is giving the wrong attention to the criminals. I think it's giving a more educational purpose. And that's really all there is to it. In 2014, he was convicted of Lynn's murder and sentenced to life in prison. Magnotta will be eligible for parole in 20 years. Unless he has good behavior, don't see him getting out of parole. Where is Luka Magnotta now? Magnotta is serving his prison sentence in Quebec's Cartier prison. In 2017, he married another convicted murder inmate. Alright, good for you. And the Netflix series, police investigators and amateur web sleuths alike theorized that Magnotta, who was reportedly fascinated by serial killers and a fan of films like Basic Instinct and American Psycho, committed his crimes out of a perverse desire for notoriety and fame, as I was saying. And Magnotta has become infamous. A poll of newsrooms found him named Canada's 2012 Newsmaker of the Year, a designation that sparked controversy. I don't know why. Why would Canada do this? Why? Why would newsrooms do this and name him Canada's 2012 Newsmaker of the Year? Why would you do this? Lin Jun's family traveled from China for Magnotta's trial, and his father, Lin Duran, offered a heartbreaking victim impact statement. I am sure that was so hard for his father to read in front of him, but I hope it brought him some closure to read it in front of the fucker that did it. In one night, we lost a lifetime of hope, he wrote. I had to come to see your trial system to see justice done, and I leave satisfied that you have not let my son down. Powerful statement. Powerful statement. I had come to learn what happened to my son that night, and I leave without a true or a complete answer. I had come to see remorse, to hear some form of apology, and I leave without anything. Awful. I feel for the father, the parents, and especially in travel from China to see to make sure justice was served. And I hope he read that and he got to feel some sort of, even just a little bit of closure. But you're never, honestly, out of all these people, you're never going to see remorse, and you're never going to hear an apology from them. And that's awful, because that's all he wants, justice to be served, and some sort of remorse. But with killers like this, you're not gonna see it. And again, you could also, based on the fact, like, well, he became one. He was fascinated because of this. Could that happen to anybody? You could say that this as well, right? These films. He was fascinated by these films, and he was just enamored by them, right? And he wanted, and he wanted that notoriety and fame. Could this happen? Could these documentaries create more Luka Magnottas? I think for the majority of the population that have empathy, that have remorse, that have those basic emotions that a human has and does have, won't be swayed to do what he did, or anybody else for that factor. But people with, like Luka Magnotta, who had trauma, childhood trauma, who was brought up in a really bad home, abusive home even, was forced to live in that, was forced to be educated in that abusive home, right? There might be something wrong with him mentally. He might have some sort of mental illness or some trauma, and that trauma had led to him doing the cats, had led to him to have no empathy or remorse for the cats. He didn't feel bad doing it. He didn't feel bad doing any of it. Killing Lin Jun, killing the cats, anybody. He didn't have that. So if basic humanity, basic humans, the majority of the population can, it's just like how people say that video games turn people violent. There are people who don't have that in their brain to do that, or just don't have that type of drive to do that. It won't just magically flip a switch. That's not what these documentaries do. That's not what violent video games do. That's not what violent television does. The majority of people can watch this and not be affected by this. Can play violent video games and not be affected by it, not be driven to go hurt somebody or anybody. But Luka had maybe something wrong with him to begin with. Maybe the trauma built up and he took it out and found the fascination and wanted that fame and notoriety, but also had something maybe mentally wrong with him. We will never know. We'll never know what his true motives were. We'll never know. So let's also hear from the wonderful Dina, that was featured on, or Deanna, that was featured on Don't Fuck With Cats and the Narrator, on an interview. Let's see what she has to say.
Now, it's the shocking Netflix documentary which showed how a group of amateur online detectives managed to bring down a notorious murderer and animal killer.
Yes, extraordinary.
I think he was
that's
one
daytime TV.
well,
so
notorious,
watching
yeah,
the
animal
name of
killer.
The exact documentary. Just so for us, we're calling it "Don't Mess with Cats."
Nah, don't fuck with cats.
Series back in 2019, Deanna Thompson has been one of the biggest names in true crime.
Yeah, she'll be telling us more next, but first, let's take a look back at this terrifying documentary series.
Deanna joined us now. Deanna Thompson, morning. So good to have you with us. I mean, you just got into town. Really appreciate you turning straight up here.
Thank you.
I mean, it's kind of one of the big hits of kind of streaming over the last couple of years. I mean, you're here for the UK's first CrimeCon event, which I know will be massive.
Yes,
so you know,
very
thanks
excited
for
for
coming
that.
for that.
Didn't know the UK did that.
Which is this Saturday and Sunday at the Leonardo Royal Hotel in London. But how did you first become involved with this? And let's go back to 2010 when this whole ordeal started.
Right. So I mean, I'm just sitting.
It's
just
so weird that this
sitting
is
in my
now
living
like
room.
13 years,
I was
14
like,
years ago
on
now.
Facebook, and I saw a video somebody had shared, and I
Or 10
watched
years,
it,
almost 10 years.
thinking
No,
it
it's
was
been
like a
10
cute
years.
cat video because it starts kind
14.
of out that way. And it took a very dark turn very quickly. And my blood sort of boiled because I could tell the person that made this video was like, I'm going to get away with this, and this is going to be a game of catch and mouse. You know, I just knew I had to get involved immediately.
So how do you get involved immediately? Because most people will call the police, right? And then...
Well, I mean, that's the question. Who do you call?
Yeah.
Exactly.
What do you do?
Who do you call?
You don't know where it happened. You don't know where it was filmed. You don't know. So those are the questions that I wanted answers to. So I just started searching, you know, for information about the video. And
so what, you took like little things you saw in the... Right, okay.
Yeah, you take little things that you see about the video
The
and
sockets,
you
the
throw 'em
blanket.
into a Google search. And it brought me to a forum that was discussing it that had been formed like an hour prior.
Right.
And so I
It's
just joined
wild
that
that
forum and
not
just
just
started
her,
talking
but
and
a lot of
with
people
the people
were
that
concerned.
were also kind of in the same situation that I was, that wanted to find answers.
Now, obviously, you saw the whole video.
Right.
I watched the documentary, and I didn't see the whole video because obviously you don't show it. But it's still horrific hearing the sound of what happened to the two kids.
Oh, hearing
It's
the sound
absolutely
killed
awful. I
me.
was actually mortified because the producer who told me to watch it hadn't even warned me
Oh,
about
no.
watching it. So I was like,
Oh, no.
God.
A very good producer.
That's
It's
not-
not like
Why
giving
am
the
I
guy too
watching
much
this?
of a
But,
hard time.
I mean, as you went along, you obviously didn't know who this person was. And then, did you just think, I want to find this killer. I
Yeah.
want to find who this is.
I wanted to find him, and I wanted him to, or her. We didn't know. I mean, the
Yeah.
person's face was totally hidden.
Him or her. Could be
Could
anybody.
have very easily been a woman. So I just wanted to get to the bottom.
Always remember, killers can be men or women. Doesn't matter which
Or
one.
you get involved in something like this online, the more invested you become.
Sure.
Because, okay, I've spent this many hours on this so far, I need to see this through.
How did you ID him?
He ID'd himself. Let's make that clear. He ID'd himself.
So you think he wanted to be found out?
1,000,000%.
So he's a proper...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, do you think he wanted to get caught?
No.
But-
He wanted to be chased.
So proper narcissistic. kind of-
Absolutely. He
right.
wanted.
Oh
wanted
yeah,
to be
he's
chased.
definitely gave me
Okay,
that
so when did he
narcissistic
ID
feeling.
himself to you? So people have
So
to...
the
He
in
wanted
the
to be chased.
documentary, my partner John Green, who's in the documentary with him and I, we kind of separated ourselves from that main forum, and that main forum had been kind of IDing somebody else.
Yeah.
And accusing somebody else, and John Green and I were like, no, it's not that person, it's not that person, because of X, Y, and Z. Well, right when they were identifying somebody else is when we got the message that, hey, the guy's name you're looking for is Luka Magnotta.
So you go to the police then?
We do, right?
then what happens?
We go to the police in Ontario.
Yeah, the main
because
thing
that's
that
where
I'd be
his
terrified of
residence
is
was, Ontario,
if it's the
Canada.
wrong person.
And
But
they were
hey,
just
he
kinda
ID'd him
like, well,
himself.
we can't really prove that it happened or was filmed in Ontario, Canada. So we kind of have to wait and see.
They're confined by those kind of...
Yeah, you know, I mean, the cops have like a very narrow set of
Sure.
parameters that they can arrest somebody by or even go talk to them. So, but he kept releasing videos. He kept releasing
He was
videos.
enjoying this,
He
wasn't he?
was enjoying it, and he kept on hinting that he was going to move on to humans.
Well, this is the thing, right? So he then obviously takes this step.
Right.
By this point, you've done enough research, and you know, he's showing these characteristics that this might extrapolate, and he might end up killing a
Right.
human.
Plus he was teasing it.
How are you telling people about that, and who's listening?
Nobody.
Even the
So-
police.
No, the police are definitely not listening. He came here to London, and he met with Alex West of The Sun, and wrote Alex West an email saying, "Thanks for the visit. I'm going to move on to humans now." Alex West and The Sun took that to Scotland Yard, and Scotland Yard was like, you know, this is internet hoo-ha. This is just
Yeah.
internet, you know, whatever. And back in 2010, when you're calling the police saying, listen, I've got an IP address, I've set up a honeypot, I know, they're kind of like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
You know, I mean, this is not a dig at the police. This is just how things were.
Yeah.
they don't know.
So,
And also, anyone could say, "I'm going to."
yeah,
So,
the way
Yeah,
that
and
we're
anyone could
approaching
say
things
it.
now
Are you
is the
really gonna?
internet
You
is the new
can't.
crime
Yeah,
scene.
like you can't. The police can't go and check every single time someone says, "Hey, I'm gonna murder somebody. Hey, I'm gonna go shoot up a school. Hey, I'm gonna." When you say that on the internet, it's just like, can you really fact check? Can you really know you can't really don't do it well. Yet it could be just a bunch of fuckery, you know? They could be lying. They could be trying to get attention. They could be trying to get somebody's attention. And police can't go and check on everybody who says it on the internet, even, you know, with the IP address and everything.
And the law enforcement agencies have really been just kind of like this has just been kind of
So they're
thrown
playing
at them.
catch up.
Right, they need to play catch up, and I mean, that's very difficult for them to do.
Yeah.
For me, when it took a sinister turn, when he actually found out who you was, and he also found out
Oh, God,
where
that would
you
terrify
worked,
me.
you know, at that point, that was the point you thought, oh my goodness, this is getting serious.
Right, well, the documentary doesn't make this clear, but this all happened within the period of a couple weeks. He found out where I worked, and then he killed a person within a couple of weeks. So, yeah, when
He killed
when I
Lin
saw
Jun.
that, I mean, and then he killed somebody. I was just like, oh my God, I'm in trouble. I'm in actual trouble.
Yeah, I'd be
Like,
fucking
this
terrified.
has jumped off of the screen into my real life.
My life, yeah.
So every time you go out, every time you go to work, every
When
time
he
you
was
come
on the
home from
run, when he was on the run after he was finally wanted, yeah, I got security at work was, you know, with me. I had to check in with surveillance. I work in a casino. I had to check in with surveillance when I got there, check in when I left. They had to walk me to my car. Yeah, I mean, it was a big deal. It was a big deal.
So frightening.
So when do you hear he's been detained and
I was sleeping when it happened because, you know, I'm in the States, and he was arrested in Berlin in the daytime. So I woke up to, you know,
I would have had a
joyous celebration
sigh
of
of
text
relief
messages from
and, yeah,
friends all over
celebration.
the world telling me to watch this video. So I watched the video, and that's when I see all those German, you know, bad police walking in, just, and they just arrested him and took him away. It was the best day ever.
So do the police look at you now and would come for you for help now?
I don't know.
They should. I think they should.
I mean, I don't think they can.
What's the matter? Because you've gone on to solve other cases, haven't you?
Yes, we've done several other cases since then, and the other cases that we've done, we've
Oh, they
actually
did more. I
solved,
didn't know
like,
this.
In 2 or 3 days they've been solved.
Yeah.
But they're cases that the police don't really investigate. You know, the police don't have the time and the resources to look
No, they
at
don't.
every single animal that's getting hurt, you know, online. There's so many
They
of
don't.
them.
There is so
because
many
so
of
many of
them.
these people just want attention.
They do.
So we don't give them attention. We don't talk about it. We just do what we got to do and. move on
and
to
then
the
you
next
hand
one.
it over to
Yeah.
then they get prosecuted in some way,
Yeah.
shape, or form. Presumably.
Right.
They get prosecuted
this
for
is-
animal cruelty and animal abuse, obviously. But yeah, no, she's right when she says, you know, the police don't have the resources to look for every single animal cruelty video that's posted online or on the dark web. YouTube doesn't allow it, but I think some slip through the cracks. Unless you report it to YouTube Mass Report for them to take it down.
I mean, it almost sounds common.
That's about it. I mean, sometimes they do it, but they do need to be taken away for animal cruelty and animal abuse.
That he was looking up himself
Yes, he was
Online.
a narcissist, to your point earlier.
as he
Yeah.
got
He is
arrested.
absolutely a
He was
narcissist.
looking at pictures of himself online.
See?
So he was
There's a
enjoying
moral
himself.
there.
Do you ever
Don't
get
Google yourself, kids.
I always worry. Did you ever worry to the fact that maybe
Yes.
you actually doing this
Yes.
was
The
making him
irony-
do more?
The irony was not lost on me. Yeah, even doing the documentary, we were like,
He's
what are
gonna
we
love
doing?
this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is exactly what he wants. But the main goal of doing the documentary was to have these kinds of talks so that we can talk more about, you know, the warning signs of somebody who's going to kill somebody. Like
Yes.
And then there's the
that's,
serial killer.
That's the point. That's the point that I'm driving home. With documentaries, people always say that, isn't this going to just make it more attention onto the killer? Well, it's the point of the talk that you need to have of, here are the telltale signs of a serial killer or someone who will possibly potentially do harm to a human being because they start with animals. They start with the animal cruelty. They start with the animal abuse. That's where it starts. Yes, is this probably inflating his fucking ego and he's loving it to all hell? Probably. Do any of the serial killers that in the past that have documentaries created on them, most of them are usually ones that that were infamous are dead now, but still, it's the telltale signs that you need to have a talk about this. Again, I cannot stress this enough. The ones that don't do anything is the movies that are made with big-time actors. Those are the ones that don't create a conversation. None. Those need to stop.
Or like triad, the wetting the bed, the killing the animals, the setting fires. Things
Wetting
that
the
you
bed,
can
yes.
look
Setting the
for
fires, yep.
in adolescents and even young adults to be wary of, you know, you might have a problem on your hands. And these are things that nobody talks about.
Deanna, how's your life changed? You're still doing the same job, aren't you? You know,
Yeah, I mean, nothing's changed. Except,
Well, you're here in
nothing's
England.
changed and everything's
You're on
changed.
the telly.
Right. Yeah, I'm on television sometimes. My friends still make fun of me all the time. I still have the same job, and nothing's really changed. I'm able to do things like this, which is awesome. But my day-to-day life has not changed at all.
And tell us about this.
All right, I think that's now just starting into more of her backstory. But yeah, this is the story of Don't Fuck with Cats. And I think there's a lot, like I said throughout this video, that is just needed to be talked about. I mean, this guy he is a narcissist. He is an animal killer. He has no empathy. He has nothing that normal humans have. He has no remorse. He has no empathy. He has some childhood trauma, more than likely. I'm not going to say he has mental health problems, but he might. I'm not a doctor. I'm not diagnosing him, but he might. Usually most serial killers do have some sort of mental illness going on. Not saying that he does, not saying all of them do, but some do, and there's obvious signs, and he pointed to all of them, and they were trying to stop him before he killed, and unfortunately, he did take someone's life. I pose the question to all of you now who are watching this video, if you've gotten this far, would you get involved in a scenario like this? I'm going to be personally, I don't think I could get involved in cases as much as they did. They took a lot of time out of their days to pin through those awful videos multiple times to find something, to pinpoint something where he was. And I couldn't, having just seen, if I ever saw those videos once, I don't think I would want to watch them multiple times. I think it would really fuck with me, and I couldn't do it. So kudos to them. I couldn't do it. Did any of you all watch the documentary on Netflix? If you did, leave your thoughts down below. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe for more true crime content coming in the future. I am not sure what our next true crime video will be. I'm debating on doing either one about Gypsy Rose, since she was just recently released from prison on parole. Or I was thinking about doing Casey Anthony, as I found a documentary on Peacock that she did, and I have wanted to talk about her case. So I will decide what we doing on for next month's true crime video. But until then, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all again in the barracks very soon. Bye-bye!